Is over to me. Thank you very much, and I'm very excited about this as well. The movie Home Again, it's a captivating story of three Jamaicans deported from the United States, Canada, and England, and they've got to make their way kind of like in a land that they're not familiar with. It's a tremendously interesting story. It was already viewed at TIFF to rave reviews, and it opens here in Tirana today, and just happen to have the sophomore film director Sudz Sutherland and one of the stars, Stephan here to talk about the film. Look at you. You're here. Yes. You're awake. And the reason I'm saying that it was a TIFF, people have seen it 6 months ago, and you got to sit on your hands for the longest time to get it to a general public. How does that feel?
You're put me in, coach, put me in.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it feels, because you've got this film and you want the world to see it.
Right.
And so you kind of do this festival route. So like you do these sneak previews of different festivals, try to get the word of mouth going. And then now it's out.
Okay. Now, was it fair to, the way I described it, I mean, obviously that's a brief overview, but is it fair to say that if I went on to Google and I Googled movies about survival, and hit enter, that this film would probably come up that way?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think so.
Tell me how.
Definitely.
Tell me how.
Absolutely. I mean, well, basically, it's about how these, three different individuals are deported back to a place in which they're unfamiliar with. So, with very few resources, so they're forced to survive, under conditions that, call for such measures.
Yeah. So this is kind of like The Amazing Race Jamaica that sucks really bad, right?
That's you could call it Survivor.
Survivor.
Like literally, that's what they need to have, Survivor Jamaica, because like just with no money, no money. That's what you need.
Where'd the story come from?
The story comes from a friend of my wife's, Jen Holness, who's a co-writer and producer of the movie. He had been deported. Grew up like her. She came when she was 4 years old. Came from here to Jamaica. From Jamaica to here.
To here, right.
And then he did the same thing. And but he ran, criminality, teenage, bad choices. He was deported. And then a couple years later, though, he was killed. And so we thought, okay, that seems like kind of like a death penalty. It seems like that could be a death sentence. So why don't we explore this? So we went down to Jamaica, researched it, interviewed over 40 deportees, and from their life stories, we made this made the script.
Right. You as a director, because you've directed Degrassi, which again is quite controversial a lot of times. You don't spend a lot of time dealing with controversial issues like this, except for the series you made about guns, which was award-winning. Speak to us about that.
Guns was, again, the story. We started off like reading a newspaper article, and it was like kind of the summer of the gun in 2005 in Toronto. So we're like, how did all the guns get here?
Yeah.
And so we talked to all the cops, we talked to criminals, we talked to victims of violence, and we wanted to find out how actually guns got here on the streets of Toronto. Yeah. So we did all this research, and from that research, again, we fashioned a script with Colin Fiore, Alicia Cuthbert, Clay Bennett, Casey Collins. And we assembled this great cast, Sean Doyle included. So we had assembled this great cast to tell and explore these issues. And we've done the same thing here with Home Again as well. We've got CCH Pounder, Tatiana Ali, obviously Stephan James, nominated for a Canadian Screen Award. Great cast.
Stephan, how did you find your character? How did you reach out, and did you act or did you live? You know how some people say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more of just being Everton. The good thing about Everton, him being alone at such a young age in Jamaica, related to me being alone in Trinidad filming the movie for 2 months.
Right.
My mom was away, so she was out there with me for a little bit, but most of the time I was there by myself. So I kind of found the connection between the two guys, myself and Everton, and that's how it sort of came about for me.
You're very excited about it today? Release today?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reviews are going to be phenomenal.
Thank you, Steve, for saying that.
Just watch me. Mark my words. The reviews are going to be phenomenal as it gets released around the world little bit by little bit. The two of you, thank you for getting up really early and being here with us. Home Again, is available for you to see immediately here in the Toronto area, and if you're watching from elsewhere in the country, it'll get your way pretty soon. Absolutely. We will return in just a couple moments. This is CP24 Breakfast. It's 8:14.
Enjoy your minute.
I really need this job. You're a deportee, aren't you? You can't hire a criminal.
I'm looking for Samuel St. Clair.
I've been looking for my son everywhere.